Light and toasty. Light
What does
and
that
toasty.
mean?
I don't know. Now I'm
Yes,
hungry.
I just get to own that forever now. It's great.
Yeah.
The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm a somewhat healthy Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Don't lie to the good people. You're nowhere close to healthy.
I am like 90% there. We'll just closing in on that last 10 just to get me super health. I need
Slight delay in recording. Part of it was a certain exhaustion and travel on my side. Canadian Thanksgiving up this way. Next, we had some other delays. Jeff you've been terribly sick. Anyone who saw our Twitter was just treated to a week of not complaints. You weren't whining online, but you were just certainly sharing commiserating online, if you will.
Yeah, that's right. I was grumpy Jeff. Sorry to all our followers, but yeah, I was my patience was thin. I was sick on the couch for a week, so.
And kids just don't care.
They don't. It's like energy runs it ramps up at that point, right?
So what came interesting though was watching along because thankfully you had your Steam Deck, which was timed so perfectly for you to have this device. But so that's a good part. Get into that in a second. But firstly, your son unfortunately was also stricken and was with you on the couch for the entire week. He was sick as well. So that's a heck of an opportunity for some game time for a kid, right?
Oh, absolutely. Let's refer to him as patient zero because I'm pretty sure he infected the family. Nothing COVID related, just a bad cold or whatever. But we were both stuck down there trying to isolate ourselves from the rest of the side of the house. My wife unfortunately got sick. My 9-year-old escaped everything. So you want to harness whatever power they have.
I might suggest he is patient zero.
It could be. You never know, right? It's like that flashing Mario when you get hit. It's just the immunity kind of ramps up. So yeah, they got away. I don't know, but no, my 12-year-old and I hung out on the couch. Lots of game time, lots of movie time, lots of time together, which was great. Whether we were just giving each other Kleenex and fluid, it helped with it was like that father-son bonding a little bit.
Nice.
In our time of desperation of trying to survive. So.
So how did it come about? So you're both sick, and did you just not between fits of fever and sleeping, did you just kind of congeal onto the couch and decide upon some games to play together? Was it just you do whatever you want to do, I'll do what I want to do? How did it come about since it was the both of you suffering together?
Yeah, it was okay. So we talk a lot on the show, just spending time with our kids and gaming, and it's great. Yeah. But that takes some energy to do. And I was lacking that energy. So I'm not trying to I'm just trying to be real here, Trevor, and just say that I did want to.
Look, man, this show's about honesty, so.
Yeah, and I'm hoping dads out there and other parents can relate. But we set aside a couple hours that we could game together. The rest of the time, we were again trying to take naps, survive. But my 12-year-old would have their phone out, be on YouTube, go upstairs onto their laptop. Couldn't game with friends because they're all at school, but at least spend some time to themselves, and then we would kind of have a time period that we would play together. Just because it does take a lot of energy just to kind of guide them through, a game that we can get into that, but a game that was a little bit more mature than. Their younger brother wasn't around, so let's play something that is a little bit more adult while their brother's out, and don't talk to them about it because we don't want any nightmares.
Keep it quiet.
Or any.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to just love to keep that secret.
Oh,
that
yeah.
He got to play a really adult game with his dad, and not adult game, an older game with his dad, and that he didn't get to play. He'll totally go to his grave with that information
all the time. It didn't happen immediately when they got home, so don't worry about that. Of course not. It was good. It was a good time. Again, just to get back to the Steam Deck, the investment paid off, Trevor. The investment immediately paid off. I couldn't be more thankful because I did not have to move from the couch. I could just boot this sucker up, have my glass of water, my Kleenex box, and just go on the Steam Deck, play my Steam library. I got into a lot of Persona 4, which is a game I had for a while and never played because I didn't really want to set it up on my PC. But I was instead of going to work and school, I was doing it virtually in Persona 4, where you go to work, get a job.
It's the same thing.
And yeah, it's the same thing. I was just keeping up in a different way. So
I'm sure your check's in the mail.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it was great just to, again, have this thing. The battery life was great on it. I was close to a charger anyway. It didn't really make a difference, but you can get a good 6 hours out of this thing on that game in particular. And I was set. Like, it was, again, something that was, I didn't have to move. And of course, I have a Switch and, a PlayStation, but it's just like one of those things where I'm not in the mood for those type of games. PlayStation is like, I have to be like in the zone, like focused. Like, it's a loud, graphical, usually kind of game. And the Switch is a little bit, like, I'm kind of just, I wasn't in the mood for a Switch.
Like a comfort thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is fast. It's just, it really is the promise fulfilled, where this is a quiet personal device that you are going to just have access to the ridiculous library you probably have on Steam and just carry it around with you. So it's just right there with you. And it's not, and you're right, the thing with the Switch is the Switch has a great variety of games. Like, honestly, like they have Doom on there, for instance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can get all of them. But A, everything on there is super expensive. B, a lot of the games, and especially in a family context that you tend to be more, cozy, friendly, family-like oriented, cutesy. Which when you're sick, it's more just comfort food. Get me, where's my stew?
Exactly.
Where's Mama's stew? Which is, we're seeing an example here with Portal or with, a Lord of the Rings game or whatever it would be, right? Like, it's just like, give me my grimy, good feeling games. I don't want to have to don't want to invest myself into something to think about too much. Like, just comfort food. Like, I'm miserable. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head there. Like, I was even playing Portal and Portal 2 just as like a fun, hey, let's just kind of screw around in this puzzle adventure and have, again, comfort. I'm just trying to relax and not get too stressed out by any means with any game. But that being said, I did load up Fallout, but I didn't get too far on that. It was too much doom and gloom for me at that time. I was like, nah, let's go back to Portal or Persona 2. So
nice. So the Steam Deck is really, it's delivering for you. Like, it's been a joyous purchase that you're not regretting at this stage.
Absolutely not. And I haven't even really scratched the surface of what this thing can do, but it's a good extension of what I couldn't get before. So that Steam library is now fully accessible to me. Again, it just acts like if you're a Switch owner and really comfortable with the Switch, this thing is just, if you have that PC library and you want that kind of experience, this thing will do the trick. And it's really good at doing it, and it's very comfy. It looks huge in the pictures, but it fits your hands better than the Switch does, which is weird to say. It's something with the Joy-Cons. You know how they're detachable, right? But it has that kind of give to them. This thing is solid. It's a solid piece in your hand. It almost feels like a Game Gear. God, I'm dating myself there. But Game Gear was ahead of its time. Here you go. Here's the Steam Deck. It's kind of the same kind of form factor. So I really appreciate where this thing is kind of, extending that gaming library to me, and worked out if you're sick on the couch.
Oh, perfect. Now, have the kids weasel their kind of grubby hands onto it yet, or has there still been a very clear delineation?
No, there's a clear separation of everything. So this is Dad's deck. I don't want to say that too quickly. But no, they haven't really asked to load up their games or even play on it, really. They have asked to play a game with me on it. Which this thing comes fully loaded with the Steam integration with the friends, and it's got a mic and headphones. All that is ready to go. Very easy to do with the overlay that comes out. So we were playing some games together while my 12-year-old and I were off sick. A game called Muck, which is like a free-to-play kind of survival game. Nice. Very cute and easy enough to get into. But the kids haven't really asked to be on it, which is great. I think they'll wake up one day and oh, that's what it can do. and want it more often. But right now they've left it alone, which is good.
Yeah. It feels like a device that you can really, like, you bring a PS5 into the house
Yeah.
with kids who play games.
Right.
Like, it's just, you can't. There's no possible way in any feasibility you can kind of keep it separate. But this is like this is much like your phone. Like, your kids aren't going to pick up your phone and just start like playing around with it. So it kind of almost gives you that exclusivity on it for quite some time. So that's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Now, while the other younger kid was away, you and your son got to dip into a slightly older title, a slightly scarier title, perhaps appropriate for October as we get near to Halloween, but Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Did he handle it okay? Because it looks like an intense experience.
Yeah, it is a very intense experience, and 12-year-old did handle it quite well. And this is a game where it is creepy. It's not necessarily like completely violent. There is, if the alien catches you, you're dead, but it's not ripping you apart or anything. As we see a guy dead on the floor on the video that we're watching. But it can be a little intense. 12-year-old kind of asked to watch the Alien movies, which we did, and we got into this game after viewing those because they did okay with those. So
okay. Oh, sorry. So the flow of this was you introduced them to the Alien films.
Yeah.
And then they found out that there's actually this really phenomenal Alien game, and I was like, oh, we got to play this, of course.
Yeah, I said, like, again, Alien Isolation kind of recreates that atmosphere and environment quite perfectly. Like, it's almost just something that an extension of the movies. So I suggested it. They wanted to dip in. I had it part of my library at one point, booted it back up, and they were in this thing very slowly going through it. I think they were just kind of taking it all in. They weren't rushing around. I think it's like probably the first survival horror game that they've played.
Right.
They have mentioned a couple games on Roblox that they've played that are creepy. But again, this ain't no Roblox. This isn't your this isn't your Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing. This is more, mature, right? Mm-hmm. So they were getting into it. I don't know if we'll continue it. Now that they're a little bit healthier, they're back to Minecraft and chilling out with their friends, but we might circle back at one point.
Now, there's the most fascinating mod. I don't have a lot of interest in playing it and then being hunted by the alien.
Yeah.
From what I read about it and what they did with the AI, it sounds... Again, terrifying is the wrong word for it, but it was really unsettling. And you described it as intense. Not my type of experience. But what I have heard is that the world is phenomenal. Like, it is so cool. If you've ever watched the Alien movie and been interested at all, the world of it is just so cool. So one of the best mods I heard is just it removes the alien.
Perfect.
So there is zero threat. And all you have to do is kind of go through and kind of figure out the puzzles and enjoy like being in an alien movie, generally minus like the part with the alien.
Yeah.
Which is like, it seems to be my continued through affair on all these shows is like, but how can I remove any challenge or issue?
Yeah.
It's getting weaker and weaker by the time we're old into this thing, it's like, God, how could I even say? It's gonna be such soft like nonsense games. Basically just walking simulators through flowery meadows. That's all I can handle.
I mean, at that point, like, what a nice day. Just a little jaunt through the field. Great. Yeah, no, I could go for that mod. I feel as I get older, maybe more a seasoned gamer, I want to look at all the environments. I want to look at all the time and energy that went in to this, the art direction of this game. Meanwhile, you're just gunning through the vents trying to get away from this thing that's trying to stalk you. Yeah. So I could go for that.
Yeah. There we go. That's a better way to put it. I want to appreciate what the game developers put together. I don't want to run through it like a commoner.
No.
So it's a much more nuanced take.
That's right.
Very good. Now, so I wouldn't call it scary so much as just bizarre. And I almost wanted to reach out to gaming dads here on how to handle it. So many thoughts running through my head as this thing is going down, this situation. And I want to get your thoughts on it. I don't know if there's a right answer, and I want to hear from the fans. So I was purchasing something online, just from an online marketplace. Great, let's meet up at this such and such time. Okay, that'll be great. And then at some point he mentions, that'll be fine. I'll be finished school.
Oh, okay.
Like school. And the location was kind of like, so you're I guess you're in high school. It's like, okay, fine. Like I did that a few times when I was buying Pokemon cards for my son. So like I could, high school kids are fine. Like that's not a big deal. It's slightly more weird because like this high schooler's meeting a adult man
Yeah.
for an exchange of money. It's kind of like this is a bit fraught, but we're gonna do this super public and like you're a mature kid, don't worry about it. So a kid comes up, I'm purchasing it, but I wanted to make sure this thing actually works. So we're trying to get like a test going on. Okay. So we had to like pair something and make sure things were working, but it wasn't quite going well. This other kid comes up and starts giving him grief. Now, the first bit of it was, oh, okay, you guys are you're friends. And you're just kind of like, you're razzing each other. Okay. But then we continue to talk or they continue to talk. And it's just like, wait, I don't think you guys are you're not friends, are you?
Oh, no.
And this other kid kind of continues to like escalate things. And I'm like, are you starting something? Are you trying to get in a fight with this kid? Like, I'm trying to buy something off of him. This other guy comes about and starts like razzing him, starts like getting at him. Yeah. He's threatening to go get his brothers. They're going to start something. The kid I'm purchasing from is like, yeah, let's get this, let's try to get this going. I want to get out of here.
It sounds like
oh man. Like, what have I stepped into? This is like the worst.
What have you stepped into?
I'm looking at this kid that's antagonizing. And like, fortunately, he seemed fairly nervous in the sense of like, there's an adult presence around, so he's not really going to probably go full bore. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, too, I'm like, all right, what are the scenarios? One of my first scenarios was, okay, you're both in on it,
right?
And what you're going to do is like grab the money and like it's like you'll be checking that I had enough money, keep the product, run. Like, oh no, he's chasing me.
Yeah.
So it's a bit. It's right. Like it's a scheme. So keeping an eye on them. That was the first one. Second was like, is this TikTok? Is this a TikTok?
You're out there, Trevor. This. You're out there. Viral.
Jeff, I'm not kidding you. I am looking for a kid holding a camera recording us. I was like, okay, is this a thing? Yeah. Like lure an older dad to buy something and then just mess with him. Yeah. And then everybody laughs on TikTok. So I'm like, am I being TikToked right now?
Right.
But as best as I can tell, they were about to have beef.
Okay.
And then here's the dad decision. Like, what am I supposed to do? I am a father of 2 boys. Like, these kids would have fathers. Like, what is the proper? What's the mode? What am I supposed to do? Do I say something like, hey, why don't you beat it? That was one of my initial thoughts. Why don't I tell this kid to knock it off? Except it antagonizes. It potentially like raises like the stakes, and all of a sudden now his ire is directed at me.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything yet. I'll say this, like, look, obviously, end of the day, much like any dad would do, if he started to like hit or hurt someone, I'm going to step in and like pull them apart. Yeah. Base level. But before you get there, there is there's an ocean of possibilities from which you have to navigate. So the first one is like, okay, do I just tell him to beat it? But that felt a bit antagonistic.
Yeah.
And then even like talking to the kid about him, like in many ways, I was looking at him. To be very clear with him, like it's like I see you, I know what you're doing, like just what's up? And the other one didn't want to even talk to the other kid about him, in so much as like, is this guy bothering you? Because again, that's me injecting myself.
Yeah.
So there's the base level. You're trying to buy something from this kid. Another kid comes up, starts to razz that one. Seems like it could escalate into a physical confrontation. You're the adult. Like, what would you do? What would you do, Jeff?
Yeah, this was in a public place, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, so we were in front of a grocery store.
Yeah.
In the middle of the afternoon.
So, like, again, that could be a good or bad thing because now it's in a very public place, and you're like, well, I'm being drawn into something that is obviously going to go down, and what are like? There's quick judgment by people, I think, right? Like, so if you're pulling apart 2 kids that are going at it, right? Mm-hmm. You're now part of that altercation, whether or not you want to be or not. But now you're part of it, right? And I'm not saying that don't step in if they're going to piss each other off. But I don't know. I'd probably say to the kid that I'm buying the stuff from, like, hey, why don't we do this another time? Or I'll message back, or depending on the amount of money and what you're comfortable with, like, here, take it. I'll trust you on this one. Just make sure, or maybe not, because then you're handing over money and the other kid's there, and like that's not going to be good,
right? And it's also just like, this is not it's not a zero chance that this is a bit, like this is a scam, right? Where it's just like antagonize them to like
Yeah.
and find some way to get the money without verifying the product or even like giving the product whatsoever. And it's like I've had zero issues with like online purchases like this, so I don't come at this from a very negative or untrusting place. But ultimately, it was so bizarre to be right there in the moment that it's like it's not impossible that this is all just a setup and it's annoying.
No.
So yeah, it's not much like I said, like food for thought, like gaming devs. Like if this has happened to you or you have any suggestions, I think the best I would do is I was just being very present. Is it like, again, like I was looking at the kid who was antagonizing just to be like I'm here and I see what you're doing. It wasn't escalating, so I did not escalate it. Like I wasn't going to yell at the kid to like kind of get myself like inject myself into whatever the heck was going on. So as best that I did, it was just like be present and be ready. And as my thinking was like, okay, if they go at it, step in between and just like separate them and like, all right, that's enough. Like you guys like beat it. Like you don't need to do this.
Yeah, that's where our like dad instincts kind of kick in because you're worried about that kid, right? Like,
yeah,
you like his safety again. When I was talking about like handing over the money, like maybe don't do that. And what's this kid gonna do to them when you leave, right?
Yeah.
Like now you want to make sure that kid gets home safe because the last time he was meeting a guy in the parking lot.
Just meeting some random adult in the parking lot.
Yeah, I would be more concerned with that kid's safety and what the issue is. But yeah, I think, did you end up getting the thing or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually the antagonizing kid took off. I was able to test it quick, so the thing worked. So everything kind of panned out as well as it could have. It was just could have gone sideways any number of ways, but fortunately nothing came about it. Which I think most schoolyard scuffles never really amount to anything, right? It's a lot of chirping from kids kind of coming up. But it was just bizarre. Like I said, I wanted to see your opinion. It seems like you're of the same kind of. It's like hard to tell what exactly to do. But if any gaming dads out there have recommendations, love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming on Twitter or newdadgaming.com.
Or if you've seen a TikTok, please let us know.
Yeah, if I'm on TikTok, if I'm trending on TikTok, like someone let me know. Like please, like write in, send me the clip.
Absolutely.
It's like dork dad.
Yeah.
Like looks scared at kid fight or some nonsense. Like who knows? Now the last thing I want to give a call out is I came across. I think it sounds like Jeff, you had the same type of ads, but I was made aware of a game, Torchlight Infinite. So it's a mobile ARPG, and this seems to be positioning itself much like the not anti Diablo, but just what could be the better version of Diablo. So this is fully mobile. So iOS, it does work on PC, much like Diablo Immortal, but it's kind of like mobile first. But it's a mobile first dungeon crawler looter, and trying to specifically target the fact that they are not pay to win. So everything to purchase at this stage is just purely cosmetic. There's no crazy PvP nonsense with people spending like 10 to 30,000. It's super like fun and visceral. Like there's so many combinations of skill trees, and everything has this like big, huge immediate effect. If you do watch a video of this, and Jeff, I think you're probably seeing this for the first time.
Yep.
Like the crazy wild action you're seeing, like that happens in the first like hour of gameplay.
Oh.
Like you start buying stuff and just like your character starts doing wild and crazy stuff like immediately. So it's just why I wanted to mention this is if your interest was piqued by Diablo Immortal, which I think a lot of us were. Like I was really kind of borderline excited for, because the thought that you could have just a full Diablo game on your phone was really like compelling. But then like the gross monetization, even if I never got to the point where it mattered, just kind of like turned me off wholeheartedly. This thing came along and it seems like it's almost trying to be an answer from it. And if you're a fan of the Torchlight series, like much that I am, it's got all of that kind of customization and styling and storytelling that's there. The visuals, one super turn off was armor. You don't equip armor. Like when you have like shoulder pads or something, like they don't show up on your character.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
which I hate. Like that's one of my favorite things with an RPG is that when you equip something, like it actually shows up on your guy.
Yeah, it's the little details, right? Like that's why you're trying to equip those things mostly. I know it's to buff your stuff, but
it also seems that like the paid cosmetic ones do show up.
Oh, no, you ruined it.
You gotta be honest here. Like, so they're kind of twisting. They got that in there. But if that's not going to be a killer for you, I suggest it's a something to consider, something to look into. Like, I think we both tried Diablo Immortal. I think we both bounced pretty hard. And have you kind of swung back around to a Diablo after bouncing?
No. That was deleted and never went back to it. I didn't like how scummy it felt. I did see ads for this one, as you mentioned, and if it's not something like that was so ingrained with Diablo Immortal of just, buy everything all the time and you're just hit with ads all the time.
Yeah.
That is something that maybe I would try out. And, it looks pretty clean. Again, like some of those spells that were whipping around with the video that we're showing were fantastic. I would say, Diablo style quality there. The aesthetic's a little different, but that might be one to check out. Again, when it's sick on the couch, I'll play anything you want. Like, just throw it at me. It's perfect.
Yeah. There's a huge amount of customization. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go with a support class, but I'm going to have like fire archetype, or I'm going to do some explosions and have turrets. Those turrets will be lightning based.
Okay.
Like when you hear some people describing kind of the mid game as you're going further, like the crazy amount of wild customization, and it seems like they're pretty generous with the buybacks. So if you want to kind of just get all those skill points back and try something else, it doesn't seem like they particularly care. I think there's something to spend to do it, but not money. It's like in-game stuff that's pretty easy to get. That's probably about the greatest way to say too. Like I do remember with Diablo, like those pop-ups
everywhere,
perpetual, incessant pop-ups to purchase the gems and like get the pass and like do this other stuff, like just slapping you in the face constantly, nonstop. There's been zero of that. There's been you log in, it's like, hey, we got this event going on.
Okay.
You close it and it's gone. Like the entire rest of the time you're playing, like it's not really there.
That's what you want, because like you said, Diablo is like 6 different currencies and like 6 different stores to buy it at, and you're like, I just want to play with the demons. Just get me out there.
Let me hit a skeleton, guys. Come on.
Money to go away.
Yeah. So perhaps you check it out while you're on your last couple days on the mend. And dads,
sounds good.
Yeah. If you had some sort of interest in Diablo Immortal, this might be one for you. That will do it up for the week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for the patience as we missed an episode. Hashtag dad life. What can we say?
Yeah.
But that's very much what this show is all about. And more than anything else, we have to really thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, if hashtag dad life is your jam, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. You can find us on all the major podcasting networks. So iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast, just search for New Dad Gaming. As we've been wont to repeat at the end of the show here, if you did like the show, something that really helps us is a review. So if you can rate and review the show, that just really helps boost the signal on the platforms and helps us reach out to as many more gaming dads as possible. How am I going to get the advice on how to handle kids potentially getting into fights if I don't speak to more and more dads?
There you go.
So help us, you help us, help you, help us, help you. You see, I go cynical. All right, everyone. Until next week, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. My name is Trevor, and I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have NyQuil on the mend, a 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
A slow drip of NyQuil, baby.
Slow drip of NyQuil. Let's do it.
Just remember, just because you're sick and just because you're a dad
does not mean it's game over.
Yeah, it's all the more reason to game, frankly.
That's right.
All right. See you next week.
See you later.